Okay, who here hasn't been to space?
Why?
You better not throw up on my ship.
Approaching jump in 3, 2, 1.
So we've been talking a lot about the Ahsoka series, and again, it's all been coming from MakingStarWars.net. They've been doing a brilliant job when it comes to all the news and leaks and things for not just the Ahsoka series, but for Mando Season 3, for Skeleton Crew, for Bad Batch. They have been on it. And this is coming with some new news that they have to say here. And this is coming, again, this is those connections to Heir to the Empire that I've been talking about ever since I've talked about Ahsoka. So I'm going to read this here, and then we'll make the similarities, and then we'll move on to what Kugler had to say about that script. All right. Exclusive. Says, who is Shin? If you've been following the recent stories I have dropped on Thrawn, Lars Mikkelsen, you have read a ton of implications that Thrawn has some kind of undead or rebuilt army under his command on the Chimera. Yes, the Chimera. Okay, the Chimera is Thrawn's command ship from Legends. For those that aren't clear or aren't familiar with it, particularly if you read. Where's that book? If you read any of Timothy Zahn's books, Thrawn books, you know all about the Chimera. You know about the things going on with Thrawn and everything like that. The Chimera is his command ship, and that is I highly suggest this book, Thrawn Ascendancy. I think it's great. I think it's fucking great. Timothy Zahn is great. But then it goes on to say. Thrawn's command ship in Star Wars Ahsoka. I have recently broken stories about Babylon, our second in command, played by Ray Stevens. But who is Babylon, and who is this assassin of his? Just yesterday, Bespin Bulletin dropped a confirmation that Mary Elizabeth Winstead is playing Harrison Dula in Star Wars Ahsoka. I believe he is correct as always, and with that punch to the fact, let me give you a kick in the shin. Ivana Sakano, I know I'm saying that wrong, is Shin. Several sources have confirmed to me that she is playing a new character named Shin. Shin is an apprentice of Babylon, a Force user who has embraced the dark side, probably in alliance with the Night Sisters. She is cold, calculated, and desperate to prove herself to her Jedi Master. What Jedi Master? Who are they? Sources have implied a story in which a survivor of Order 66, a Jedi named Babylon, fled to this unknown region of the galaxy for safety. Sources think Babylon wanted to maintain the Jedi way, but was corrupted over time, maybe from the influence of his life with the Night Sisters. Shin herself might be a former Night Sister. Sometime around the Return of the Jedi, before the series takes place, Babylon takes Shin on as his apprentice. Damn, why do I keep saying apprentice? Somehow Babylon and Thrawn became allied, and Shin is tasked to hunt and kill Ahsoka Tano. Of course, Ahsoka actually grew up fighting off characters like Ventress, so it is doubtful Shin will challenge Ahsoka too much, and this will bring Babylon out into a large conflict with Tano herself. Says the subtleties of the backstory may differ when we get to the final version of Star Wars Ahsoka series. All the supplementary material in publishing begins. This, however, is my understanding of the simple backstory that seems to have been used during the production to inform the script and motivation. These characters are a mystery to Ahsoka at first, and still learn about and she will learn about them as the episodes unfold. I just do not know to what extent and how much exposure. That's what they should put, exposure. How much exposure will inform us about them on screen. Then lastly here is the speculation. This is highly speculative, but I'm getting the vague sense that Ezra Bridger, Iman Asfadi, and Thrawn split or were separated and have been apart for a long time. Ezra sounds like he is in hiding, perhaps lost on purpose. After Ezra figures out Babylon is evil evil leaning. Maybe Ezra stays in hiding out there because evading Babylon is more doable than the entirety of Palpatine's army. When the Empire falls, thanks to Luke Skywalker, Ezra has missed all of that while lost at sea. So Ahsoka is out here looking for the lost Jedi. In the process of this, Ezra and Ahsoka will have to fight Babylon and Shin to safely return home and protect home from them. I suspect Thrawn wants to use Babylon to kill Luke Skywalker, like an Heir to the Empire, like Joruus C'baoth. Yes, I'm going to get on that in just a minute. Thrawn now has a Jedi with an apprentice. Thrawn has his Star Destroyer. Thrawn has resurrected or rebuilt army under his command. This is a real threat to the New Republic. Even with a young Jedi Luke Skywalker who has only began to build his Jedi Order. I have been told Mon Mothma is relevant in the new shows as well. She did create the Military Disarmament Act, that indeed she did, which has left the galaxy vulnerable to such unknown threats from the unknown regions and things like that. She is likely in these shows in a cameo-sized part. It sounds fun. I would love to hear your theories, blah, 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 blah. So those are the things kind of going on with the Ahsoka series and things right now. It's pretty interesting. Like I said earlier this week, Making Star Wars did talk about the character Babylon, which we talked about that when we talked about the last Ahsoka leak that we talked about. It is going to be played by Ray Stevenson. He is second in command under Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now, remember, what was his name? Remember the dude I said I can't remember his name from the Thrawn comics? I can't remember his name. But in the Thrawn comic, there is a officer, an Imperial officer that Thrawn spends most of his time with, if not all of his time, that eventually becomes his little helper and things like that. I'm wondering if that is a role that they could be playing. Because I remember I asked, I forget his name. Fuck. I asked, where is he? Where have you seen this man? Where is he at? Blah, blah, blah. Things like that. But it looks like they're, with the direction that they're going with Ray Stevens as Babylon, the comparison to Joruus C'baoth is right there. And I've been saying for the longest, Heir to the Empire. That is where we heard way back in early 2021, middle 2021, that's where they wanted to go with the Filoni verse. Was that they wanted to tell the Heir to the Empire story. And it looks like Babylon may be serving as Joruus C'baoth. In Heir to the Empire, Joruus C'baoth was an insane dark Jedi. He was an insane dark Jedi that went crazy. He went crazy after Order 66 and everything like that. After those things happened, the Emperor ended up cloning him and putting him in command over Mount Tannis. And Mount Tannis we did see at the end of Bad Batch. That's where Nala Se was being escorted to by those Republic commandos. And after that, and Thrawn shows up and everything in Heir to the Empire. Thrawn is a huge major player in Heir to the Empire. He is basically Thrawn's right hand or left hand man. And I think that's what Babylon is going to be. Ray Stevens' character, he is going to be the Joruus C'baoth of what's going on. And instead of getting Luke with 2 U's, you're going to get this Shin character as his apprentice. It looks like it's going to be really interesting. And I'm not even doubting that Luke Skywalker will show up, because that was Thrawn's whole thing, to attack the New Republic. And I'm so glad they're still kind of going with that storyline there, that he's going after the New Republic and things like that. We're going to be seeing that happening. And according to the sources, well, let me put it this way. Also the stuff with Mon Mothma. It makes a lot of sense with Mon Mothma showing up, because she is the one that created the Military Disarmament Act, which was basically made the galaxy vulnerable to any unknown threats out there. And right now, Thrawn is an unknown threat in the unknown regions, or beyond space, whatever they're calling it, where he's going to show up and try to pull an attack on the New Republic. So it's going to be really, really interesting. And something else that I'll add to that too here. Is this coming from? Yes. I'll show this one here. We also have our young Ahsoka, which we all know that Savannah Stein is going to be playing our young Ahsoka. We've talked about this. I'll kind of go into what they're saying. It says Star Wars Ahsoka is expected in 2023 with Rosario Dawson as the lead actress. However, it's been reported that a younger version of the character will appear in the series. Nerdgasm has exclusively learned that the actress Savannah Stein will play a young version of Ahsoka Tano. Early in 2022, Stein appeared in HBO's House of the Dragon. Now she'll appear in Disney Plus's Ahsoka series coming in 2023. Announced in December 2020, Ahsoka is a spin-off from Disney's The Mandalorian. It follows the character's appearance in the second season of the show. Rosario Dawson takes on the mantle of the former Jedi Padawan. However, she'll be joined by Natasha, Lee Alu Bordezo. I see her face. I can't pronounce her name. Who she will be playing Sabine Wren. The Ahsoka series will be a limited series that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have developed. Filoni has written the series while also directing multiple episodes. How will Savannah Stein appear in Ahsoka? Notable Star Wars leaker MakingStarWars.net has revealed details about the upcoming series. The information matches what we here at Nerdgasm have heard for some time. Savannah Stein will play a young Ahsoka Tano in flashbacks. We talked about that last week, if you guys remember. She'll play a young Ahsoka Tano in flashbacks of the Clone Wars. Ahsoka was a pivotal character in the animated series of Star Wars The Clone Wars. However, Jason Ward's information adds more depth to how this young version of the character could appear. While flashbacks seem to be the obvious answer, it does appear to take another turn. According to Ward, younger versions of Ahsoka will appear via the world between worlds. This location is a mystical plane within the Force that bridged locations between space and time. You can see why this would be a solution for showing younger versions of the character. Additionally, MakingStarWars.net states there's another version of Ahsoka who is playing that version is unknown. However, Nerdgasm is aware of Savannah Stein, that Savannah Stein is playing the teenage Clone Wars version of the character. Ward's information somewhat checks out. He states that during the series production, the character of Ahsoka Tano had different code names, therefore suggesting different actresses would be playing the character for specific moments as such. It matches our information as well. Additionally, it was reported that Hayden Christensen will fight the Clone Wars Ahsoka. This is the one that is Savannah Stein's character, or that Savannah Stein will be playing. Christensen has long been rumored to be appearing in the series. This follows his appearance in Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi as Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader. So, yes, and then it goes on to just say who Stein is. We all know who Savannah Stein is. She played Lady Lena Valerian in House of the Dragon and things like that alongside Matt Smith. And also, since we're talking about Matt Smith, for those that do not know, Matt Smith was also originally supposed to play a younger version of Palpatine in Rise of the Skywalker. Rise of the Skywalker. He was supposed to play a younger version of Palpatine, and he's talked about that again on the Happy Sad Confused podcast. He talked about it. He talked about how he was supposed to be playing that younger version of Palpatine there. Well, he didn't say Palpatine, but the rumor was that it was supposed to be Palpatine. He just never came out and said that it was going to be Palpatine.
But did you ever shoot any Star Wars scenes?
No, I didn't. There was we were close to me being in it, but then it never quite happened. I think the thing they were thinking of me for, eventually the part became, it became obsolete and they didn't need it. And so I never got to be in Star Wars. There we are.
Wait, what? Here's conjecture. Was this Palpatine's son? Was that who you were playing?
I could not possibly say. But it was a pretty groovy thing. It was a really groovy part and concept. It was pretty big. It was a big thing. It was like a big story detail, like a transformative Star Wars story detail. But it never quite got over the line.
No, I can't deal with this. I'm gonna have nightmares about this now.
Yeah, I mean, it was like it was a big shift in the history of the franchise.
I need you to stop talking. You're getting me angrier every successive word.
Yeah, I know. It's yeah, there we are.
Did you ever get into like costume? Was there a costume test? Like how far along
No,
did you get?
there was no costume. There were a couple of meetings. Talk about it.
But in that original story, that's why I was so hyped for Rise of Skywalker, because again, I thought that they were going to be adapting Dark Empire, because in Dark Empire, what do you see? You see a younger version of Palpatine take on an apprentice, take on Luke as his apprentice. Palpatine had several bodies that were younger versions of himself. That way, if something happened, he could just transfer his force essence into another body and just operate off that body. As we all know, Palpatine was obsessed with immortality, and that obsession drove him to doing the things that he did as his time as Emperor and ruler of the galaxy. So it's really interesting to see that that's what they're doing. And also something we know, we talked about this a while back, that Hayden Christensen was going to be coming in as Anakin Skywalker. If you remember back during the Obi-Wan Kenobi days, that the rumor was, there was the leak that he had filmed some things in the Clone Wars armor. However, we did not see that in Obi-Wan. All we saw from a flashback was an episode 2 flashback. And with that episode 2 flashback came some terrible de-aging effects on Hayden Christensen. And it was, again, episode 2 time. I'm wondering if the scenes that he filmed that were reported around that time were scenes for the Ahsoka series instead, not scenes for obviously the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. So it's pretty cool. I don't know what the Ahsoka stuff is going to look like as far as her fighting Anakin on Mustafar instead of Obi-Wan. We know why though. That scenario, the portal she's going to be looking into in the World Between Worlds is a what if scenario rather. And that's really what you kind of have to look at the World Between Worlds as right now, is a what if scenario. What if this happened? What if this happened? What if that happened? At the end of the day though, it's kind of like Ahsoka said when she stopped Ezra from pulling Kanan out of the moment he died. Had he pulled him out of that moment, Ezra wouldn't be standing there. Hera wouldn't be there. Sabine wouldn't be there, because Kanan was the one blocking them from death. So it's a what if type of scenario. What if I save Kanan? Well, then you don't live. What if Ahsoka fights Anakin? We don't know what that would have looked like. But we do know that this is the Ahsoka, this what if scenario is a scenario of if Ahsoka did not leave the Jedi Order like she did in Clone Wars. She would have been the one that would have went on to fight Anakin instead of Obi-Wan. Which then begs the question, well, where was Obi-Wan? Where's Obi-Wan during this time? But it also begs the question, are they going to, and I hope they don't, I hope Dave doesn't do this, are they going to make it to where Ahsoka beats Anakin? And I hope that they don't do that. Now, obviously, Anakin was conflicted when he was fighting Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith. The Sith eyes weren't there when he was fighting Obi-Wan. The Sith eyes were there when he was killing the leaders of the Separatist leaders. But when he was fighting Obi-Wan, his eyes weren't yellow. The Sith eyes weren't there, anything like that, because he was conflicted. He was conflicted that was his brother. That was he like he said in Clone Wars. He's like my father. So he was conflicted by that. How much more conflicted is he going to be by fighting Ahsoka? Are we going to see Ahsoka take him out? Are we going to see him take Ahsoka out? Because he is going to be majorly conflicted fighting someone, I'm sure, that he considers to be like a little sister to him. Someone that he really cares about. Anakin was hurt when Ahsoka left. Hurt. And blamed the Council. Among many other things, blaming the Council. But he was hurt when Ahsoka left. So it's pretty dope to see that we're gonna have a young Savannah Stein playing a younger version of Ahsoka Tano, and what that's gonna look like, and whoever this third version of Ahsoka, what that's gonna look like, and things like that. I'm so fascinated with the World Between Worlds. The Emperor himself is extremely fascinated with the World Between Worlds. Minister Heimdall, as you saw in Rebels, was trying to access the World Between Worlds. During Rebels, they had that whole excavation site going, trying to activate it. You even saw Palpatine show up saying that the World Between Worlds is the conduit between the living and the dead. Like, bro, shit. There's so much about the World Between Worlds that I am so interested and fascinated with, and I've looked. There's just nothing out there. Dave has been so vague about it, but I'm so interested in it because it could change a lot of stuff within the Star Wars universe. He has said it's not time travel, but I'm interested to see what it's going to be. Excuse me. We also heard, that Mary Elizabeth Winstead is going to be playing, and I'm not going to read that one from Bespin Bulletin, but we also heard that she's going to be coming in playing Hera as within Ahsoka. Also, fun fact, she is married to Ewan McGregor. Her and Ewan McGregor have a kid together, so I'm sure she knows her stuff as Hera, or I'm sure she knows her stuff as her Star Wars stuff at least. And outside of Rebels, we've not seen Hera. We've heard she does exist within the Star Wars canon universe, outside of the animation stuff. But we didn't see her in Rogue One, but we did hear her name as they were getting ready to fly off to Scarif. You heard over the intercom General Syndulla something. But we also saw the ghost in Rogue One. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. All the stuff that's going on with Hera and what they're going to be doing with that. And also, I'm wondering too, when we see Hera, are we going to see her with Jason Syndulla, her son? Because the last time we saw her in Rebels, she was with her son, Jason Syndulla. So is Jason going to play a role in this? How old is Jason at this time? Is Jason, does he have Force abilities? Is he a Jedi? Is he going to meet Ahsoka? Is he going to meet Luke? Is Jason one of the ones that maybe joins Luke's Jedi Order? There's so much going on in this series, and I am here for it, bro. This is the first time in a long time that I can say I am amped for Star Wars. I cannot wait for this series to drop. This shit is going to be my jam, bro. I'm going to be in here every episode reacting and breaking this shit down with you guys, because this sounds like it's going to be super cool. The last thing we'll talk about here is the movies. The next time we're going to see movies. So since The Rise of Skywalker, we have not seen a Star Wars movie. We have not seen a Star Wars movie since 2019, but it looks like that may be changing. So this is coming from Bespin Bulletin. But before we get to what Bespin Bulletin had to say, I will say this. We also know that Sean Levy, who is the director over for Deadpool 3, the director for Stranger Things and things like that. We know that he is going to be coming over after Deadpool 3 to direct his Star Wars film. And he is super excited about it. He has confirmed it. He's talked about it. That was in a Collider interview. I was going to read the interview that he said there in Collider. Well, I can read you what he said here quickly. He said, if you had told me back when I was directing Big Fat Liar that someday I'd be working on the biggest TV show in the world and directing Marvel followed by Star Wars, I would have told you you're fucking nuts. But it's so thrilling, and it is the kind of big canvas storytelling that I've always dreamt of doing. So yeah, Sean is going to be coming over to do his own Star Wars film, and I don't see this being one of those things, well, there's been creative differences with Sean, so he's out. You have to remember, KK is also on her way out. KK is doing her farewell This Is It tour. She is done after Indy 5, or maybe even before. She has been served her severance papers, so she's about to be done. Like, she's on her way out. So I feel like this whole thing with Sean, I feel like that is actually positive. That actually may be happening. But Bespin Bulletin had this to say about Damien Lindelof, who is going to be coming in and also directing a film rumored for 2023. They had this to say. Hello there. Well, actually, let's see. It's been 3 years since a Star Wars movie was released in theaters, The Rise of Skywalker, and there's going to be another 2-year wait until we see the galaxy far, far away back on the big screen. But since the release of Rise of Skywalker, we've had many Star Wars announced or reported projects to be in development alongside a plethora of talented filmmakers. At this time, we know of 6 different film projects in some form of development at Lucasfilm, which includes a film from Taika Waititi. I don't think that's happening anymore. A film being produced by Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige. I also don't think that that's happening anymore. Rogue Squadron, that ain't happening. By Patty Jenkins. A trilogy from The Last Jedi director Rian Johnson. That shit better not happen. A film written by Watchmen's Damien Lindelof and a movie from Free Guy director Sean Levy. So the last two we know for sure are happening. Those two are for sure happening. I don't think Kevin Feige's coming over anymore. I don't think Taika's film's happening anymore. We know Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron's not happening. Ryan Johnson shit damn sure better not happen. Then it goes on to say the journalist that first broke the Lindelof story back in the spring before the trades reported it in the summer was Jeff Snyder. As you guys know, we talk about Jeff Snyder over here quite a bit. Jeff is pretty on point with all of the things he discusses. You can check out his show Hot Mic. He said has since said he believes that Waititi's film would not be the next. I don't think so. Would not be the next one to be released. And in fact, it would be Lindelof's project that'll take the December 2025 release date. During the latest episode of his podcast Hot Mic, Snyder was asked about the upcoming Star Wars movies in which he believes will get made, to which he responded, I think Damien Lindelof's movie is going to get made, and I think the Lindelof movie will probably go into production next year. So we do, and there's more there, and if you there's more that they're talking about with the Bespin Bulletin, but we do know that Sean Levy is doing his. We know that Damien Lindelof is doing his. We know that we've got some positive things from the Ahsoka series, some things that sound like it's going to be great. Again, they are going to adapt elements of Heir to the Empire. It sounds like it's going to be great when they do it. I truly believe that whoever Babylon is, that he is going to be the Jurus Sabaoth of this, everything that's going on. This still all has to connect into 7, 8, and 9, because that's still where they want this all to connect to, because regardless, at the end of the day, that's the final destination. That's where they're going back to, is the sequel trilogy. We've already seen them adapting elements of the sequel trilogy in Mando. And I think it was in Mando Season 2, wherever they were. I don't remember where they were, but we saw some of the cloning things starting to happen. Hell, even in Mando Season 1 with the child, there was the Camino, the dude from Camino that was the cloner. We saw him there. Like, why all this cloning stuff? We know why. Palpatine being obsessed with cloning. Obviously, cloning being a theme going on in the sequel trilogy, with Snoke being a clone, or not really a clone, a creation rather, and a puppet of Palpatine. But we've seen the clones of Palpatine and things that they were trying to do to get him off of that little ventilator thing on Help Me Out, the planet Exegol, and things like that. So Palpatine, that all plays a heavy theme in still what's going on in the stories they're trying to tell. So it's pretty exciting. I think we're going to see some cloning stuff going on too, and they're probably going to play on that and some more of the series and things that coming out, even in the Mando Season 3. And even for that, we're supposed to get a trailer, a special look at that tomorrow. We're also supposed to get a special look at Ant-Man and the Wasp tomorrow, Quantumania, so be ready for that. So yeah, bro, it's a pretty exciting time if you're a Star Wars fan. And I that's wild as shit to say, but it's an exciting time if you're a Star Wars fan. This shit is going to be so cool. This I can't wait for it. I can't wait for it. Again, big Ahsoka fan. It's my most anticipated Star Wars 2023 show. But as always, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Maybe you're like, nah, I'm done with Star Wars. They let me down. I gave him Obi-Wan. I gave him Book of Boba Fett. Maybe you were an Andor fan. Maybe that turned it around for you. You gave him Bad Batch and things like that. Things just really weren't hitting. But it sounds like we are moving in a positive direction with Star Wars. It sounds like we are about to get a deal with Star Wars where the course corrections being made, where the fandom can start looking forward to seeing Star Wars things again. Most importantly, though, seeing Star Wars back on the big screen. That's positive to hear that maybe by 2023, not a film in 2023, but a rumored film starting production in 2023 could be coming soon. So let me know down below in the comments what you guys are thinking about that.